Hello, Flosstube, and welcome back to Coco the Creative. This is Flosstube number 9. Okay, let's get into it. So, this is the agenda. As always, I have my journal with all my notes and things like that. So, I'm going to make sure that we cover everything in this video today. So, first, I want to do a little shout out and to a different Flosstube channel. And then I'm going to get into my progress and my new WIP rotation now that Sampler September is over. And I've had a little bit of a break from my stitching. If you watched my last video, yeah, I was kind of starting to pull back anyway, but I've taken a break. I've only worked on the underwater tapestry. And I have a little bit of haul, just a tiny little haul thing that's stitchy related. And then I'm going to show you 2 more pieces from my stash. I did that in my last video, and I think I like that because I'm kind of in this monogamous mode with my WIPs. I'm not, and I just don't think that in general I will have like a ton of WIPs to show in my progress videos. So I just want to give you something different to look at in every video, and I'm just going to do that by showing you what's in my stash a little at a time. And then I'm going to talk about books that I'm reading and a little bit of book haul that I've done. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about my book that I'm writing that goes with the spooky season. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you to Thick Threads for shouting me out on his channel. I was so surprised when I got that notification, and Thick Threads had commented on one of my videos before, so I was familiar with that handle. But he's stitching like some really cool stuff, and I can't wait to just like catch up on all his videos. I've been needing a new Flosstube to just sit back and catch up on videos with. So go check out his stuff. He's involved in some cool sals and just different like group community things. I think that he's going to a retreat soon, and I hope to go to like a stitchy retreat one of these days. So I'm always curious to see how people like how they enjoy it, and like props to people who can actually vlog during those things, because I would just be like, oh man, information overload, stimulation everywhere. So yeah, I hope to kind of like follow his journey as he goes through these retreats and things like that. And he's got some great variety in his projects and things of that nature. So go check him out. And thanks again, Thick Threads, for shouting me out. Okay, let's get into progress. Of course, I have everything laid out except for my underwater tapestry, which I have to get out of my bag. So 1 minute. Okay. I don't know if I've ever showed you this, but this is like the bag that I keep all of my underwater tapestry stuff in. It's a Barnes and Noble bag that they give you for being a serious member, I guess. I actually worked on this morning because I'm like, oh, it was folded so nicely from this morning. I'm unfolding it now. Okay, get the threads out of the way. Okay, I might have to stand up. So I think the last time I showed this, because I think I tried to watch my old video to see where I was. I don't think I made it to the edge of the canvas. Well, I made it to the edge. Yeah. This is the whole bottom half. And I just finished this mermaid last night. And this is my favorite mermaid on the piece. So yeah. It looks so good. And I haven't done too much at the top. I just kind of filled in this like row right here, and I'm just working on the next row. But I think I'm going to work on this tree part for a while before I move back down to where the coral confetti is. I don't have that many motifs, like big, well, medium size motifs left, like the size of the mermaid or like this pink shark over here. I have one more pink, or it might not be pink. I have one more shark. And then I have, there's like little bunny rabbits. Like you can probably see the outline. I don't know if they're cats or bunnies. Sometimes, like this one kind of looks like a cat, but the other ones kind of look like bunny rabbits. They're just kind of like scattered throughout. So I have those little guys, but the biggest motifs that are left are this tree and then the clam that the mermaid is sitting inside of. Like this clam takes up like most of the central part of the piece. So yeah, after I kind of gave up on sampler September, that's what I was working on, my underwater tapestry. Okay. And in case you're new, I got this from the Joy Autumn store on AliExpress, which I don't think I've ever linked. I'm going to add it today. I'm going to add it to the links at the bottom. And these like Joy Autumn pieces do not have names. Something just fell on the floor. That was where that noise came from. They don't have like titles and names, so the way that I find them is just by browsing the store. I know it's it's a lot, but because it's a big store, but you just kind of have to do that. I don't know. Yes, I can't give you like the specific name of the piece because I do not know it. I'm the one who calls it underwater tapestry. Okay, so that's underwater tapestry. That's my progress. And then I also got back into Titus with the bubbles, that piece. And I actually got a good amount done yesterday. So this is Titus from Final Fantasy X, if you're not familiar. And yesterday I got his eye done, and I got some blue added to his, that like bright blue. I got that added to his clothing, and I filled in these bubbles. I'm still filling them in, but I filled in all the bubbles over here. Sorry, I wasn't even holding it up right. I filled in all the bubbles. The color that was missing is very close to the color of the actual back of the fabric, or the actual fabric, so it might not be that noticeable. But yeah, and then I also, it's kind of stuck in the nerd hoop, but I also added the outline of more bubbles over here. So I actually got a good amount done, and I was feeling good when I was working on it. So as far as my WIP rotation, Titus is back into the WIP rotation. He's back. And then I'm adding one other small kind of piece into the WIP rotation. This was actually a part of my sampler September, but when I got overwhelmed by the amount of samplers I was doing, I rotated it out. So should be pretty familiar. These are my egg ornaments that I'm just doing for the holidays. I don't know. I have not made an ornament before, but I'm going to go to YouTube University, and I'm also going to call on my mother-in-law who needle points, and she makes ornaments all the time to kind of help me with that process. But yeah, I didn't work on this at all recently, but this is what I'm going to get back into. And the little bit of stitchy haul that I have actually goes with this. So, oh, and by the way, I'm going to link this below, but the Titus Bubbles is from Needle Minder Lair on Etsy. And then this is from Daily Pattern Post on Etsy. Daily Pattern Post is also where I got my Tea Time sampler. So, and they always have stuff on sale. Their samplers are just really cool if you've never checked them out before. Okay, So this was something that I got a long time ago, and it just took a long time to get through the mail. I don't know. I just like kind of forgot about it and assumed that it would eventually get here, and it did. So I got this from Be Stitch Me. This is the fabric. It's called Luna Moth. This is 1/4 of a yard, 16 count. And yeah, the color is Luna Moth. Just a very kind of nice, I don't know what you would call this, like a periwinkle blue. It's like it's like a sky blue, and my lamp is, I don't know. Hold on, let me see if I can, sorry. The lamp is right over my camera. Yeah, it's like a sky blue. And I got some dyed floss. I don't know how far this is going to be able to go, but I got it to go with this. It's called Dreary. It's in the color Dreary, and it's variegated. It's like grayish blue. And I'm going to use this to make more ornaments from the designs in the daily pattern post pattern that I have. And I don't know when I'm going to start that. I might finish up this egg that I'm working on right now, this red egg, before moving on to this. So yeah, that was a little bit of stitchy haul that I had. Okay, so that's it in terms of progress. Told you wasn't a lot. Let me just put this away. Yeah. So now I'm going to move on to stash. So I think in my last video, in my last video, I talked about how I didn't have I had one seasonal stitch, but I don't have any Halloween specifically themed stitches. And that's not something I thought I wanted. And then I went to the Joy Autumn store to see if I liked anything on there. And I was like, let me give this one a try, blah, blah, blah. But then it came in the mail and I decided that I didn't like it. So it's still in my stash. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might just give it away to somebody who really likes Halloween stitches. I don't think I'm at a place where I'm willing to mail this off to anybody. So, but yeah, it's in my stash. But this is it. Yeah. And this is like the type of Joy Autumn style that I'm not super crazy about, where it's usually like some kind of animal, like a cat or a bear, and they have like wide football heads, and they're usually wearing hats or something. Like I think I have one other piece that's like that, but I just I know it's cute, but once I looked at the colors and I looked at the pattern, I didn't want to dedicate myself to this. I just didn't want to do it. So yeah. Okay, I do have to check something on my phone, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, that's what I'm not doing this October. All right, so in that big spontaneous haul video that I did, you may have noticed I was a little flustered because one of the pieces that I had ordered was not in that delivery, but my notifications on my email were saying that it was. Well, it came a few days later, which I suspected that it would, and this was the piece that came. So yeah, very similar to the Halloween piece I just showed. This is kind of like a lantern festival. I think one of the I don't know if it's Lunar Festival. There's multiple Chinese, or I think just different festivals that take place in Asian culture, and this is one of them. And I think it said something about Lantern Festival on the description. But I got it for my son because it's got all these bold reds and blues, um, and they're sitting around eating, which my son is just like, he's very much a foodie. Like, he just loves to eat and try out new things. And I really liked how the lanterns looked up here. That's kind of what like hooked me with this piece. And I think it'd just be really fun to work on. I think this also will make a good like New Year's kind of piece. Like, maybe when I'm done working on the Christmas Joy Autumn piece that I have, if I'm not ready to go back to underwater tapestry, I can like just put a few stitches in this around New Year's, and I'll still, because I might still be in like the season, but I want to do a new start. So yeah. And the dimensions on this are 65 centimeters by 85, which is not as big as my underwater tapestry, but still pretty big. So yeah. Same thing. I think the Halloween one is a similar dimensions. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's 45 by 60, so a little bit smaller. But yeah. So that's a little peek inside my stash. I hope you liked that. Let's see. Okay, books. So now I'm going to talk about books. And I'm not going to be talking about anything stitchy for the rest of the video. So I'm going to link Needleminder Lair and the Joy Autumn store down below. If you want to look through that, I will tag Thick Threads. Go check out his Flosstube. And I'm also going to have the indie books that I'm talking about linked down below, as well as my book that I'm working on right now. So yeah, if this is where you kind of want to stop, feel free. Okay, talking about books. So this is the book that I'm reading right now, A Song for the Road by Catherine Labadie. I think the last time I showed you guys, I was like here. Well, now I'm here. I'm on page 329. And so Goodreads says I'm about 63% done with the book. This book is amazing. It's been great so far. It still gives me the, like, I still kind of feel like I'm reading something like The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, or like the Robin Hobb books, if you're familiar with any of her work. So if you like cozy fantasy, if you like grimdark, this is a bit of grimdark. It has some epic fantasy elements, but it's not, I wouldn't call it like high fantasy. It's kind of like a snapshot into a high fantasy, because I think it's like a standalone, and she has this whole world that and this is the first of this universe that I've read. So I might go read some of her other books that center around this universe, because I kind of like what's going on in the universe itself. But yeah, and it's romantasy, so it is a romance, but I feel like the romance is very balanced with the plot of the story, and like it's just a really good book. It's just really good. So yeah, A Song for the Road. And let's see, I'm also reading a bunch of other books on my Kindle, but I kind of made an agreement with myself that I will only allow myself to read one hard copy book at a time, and then but I can read as many books as I want on my Kindle. And I don't want to talk about the books I'm reading on my Kindle unless I know I'm definitely going to finish them, because a lot of times I'll download stuff off of Kindle Unlimited, decide I don't like it, and then send it back. Yeah, which is why I like Kindle Unlimited, because I do not have to commit so much. But if I buy a book in hard copy form, I pretty much I've committed myself to reading it, finishing it. Because I used to, in my early 20s, I had a really bad book buying addiction, and I had all these like hard copies, hardbacks that I just, I would read them. I'd get like halfway through the book and I'm just like, I am not feeling this. And I would feel just icky because I spent $35 to $50 on it. So if you're kind of at that point in your life, you need to get Kindle Unlimited. And then if you really, really want the book, then you can go buy a hardback. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. And I've been doing this for a few years now. And I really like this little situation that I have now. Okay, so I want to show a little bit of haul. So these 3 books that I'm going to show you are all by indie authors, but not just indie authors. They are Black women of color authors, and they all come from, yeah, like indie backgrounds. So you may have seen this book. It's called Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis. It is like mainstream now, but she's still an indie author. Those are her origins. Beautiful hard copy. I mean, people are making, like, artists are making fan art of her work. And there's another book in this pile that the same thing is happening. So she's really, I mean, she's really an inspiration to other indie writers, other Black indie writers. And I think that this is like, it's kind of in the Twilight family, which I'm not the biggest fan of vampires. Like, I, I don't know. I mean, I respect vampires as like, you know, a mythical creature. I get why people like them. I'm more like a werewolf person, but even that, I'm like, but werewolf books are, a lot of times they have vampires in them, so sometimes, a lot of times, I just won't read them. But I just like paranormal romance. I went through a whole paranormal romance phase where I was heavy into paranormal romance. Maybe I'll show you one of the series later that I really, really got into in my early 20s, but and I didn't regret buying hard copies of. But yeah, that's kind of, if you like paranormal romance, vampire romance. I believe this is like new adult, like all the characters I believe are like, I think older, in their 20s and stuff like that. But when I'm done with A Song for the Road, this is the next book that I'm going to read, and I'm super, super, super excited for it. Okay, so the next book that I bought, and I bought all these at the same time because I was like, I really want to support these authors, and I really want to have these books on my shelf. I think I told you I got like a new bookshelf, and or I was waiting on a bookshelf. My bookshelf finally came in my library. Maybe I'll throw up a picture somewhere and show you. Like, I love my bookshelf so much now. Okay, this is called The Gifted Society by Tatiana White. Now, I actually know this author. I haven't met her in person or anything, but she was on Wattpad at one point, like drafting this story. So I read this whole book in like its first draft form, and it was great back then. So, and then she took it down, and I had a feeling she was just going to like work on it and, you know, get it edited and polished and stuff like that. And it took a couple of years, but then she came back with this book. It had a new title and a new cover and everything. And I was just so happy and excited for her. So I had to get this book. And I mean, it is just like, it's just, I love like the Roman like statues, and like look at that art, how it like fades into like the sketch. That is just so, I don't know what to say except artistic. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize this. This is new. This is new to me. Look, you can take off the jacket and it's still like, you still get all the art. That's gorgeous. I really love this cover. And I just know this book is going to be good because like I've read it before, but I'm excited to see how she's altered the story, if she has, and like where it goes and stuff like that. So I'm going to read this after Blood Moon. But yeah, Gifted Society by Tatiana White. Okay, last book that I got. This is I think Gifted Society is technically YA. She might have changed, I don't know, maybe she changed the ages of characters. Maybe they're like college age, but I think that's still technically YA. This is definitely YA. It's called Legend Born. Like, I've seen it, I think, advertised as a YA book, by Tracy Dion. I think her name is. How you say your name? This is another book where I think I found out about it because artists on Instagram were making fan art for it. And I'm just like, wait, I've seen these characters before. I've seen these characters named, but like this is in a different style and stuff like that. So this is like a whole trilogy. And so it's been on the market for a while. Um, but still I've just heard really great things about it. I think it falls into the magical academy um like subgenre of YA fantasy. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this. I haven't read like just stand like I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Just like that really recognizable just like YA fantasy. I haven't read that in a while. So I'm excited to like get back into that genre um and kind of see it through a different lens. So yeah, those are all the books I'm super excited for. And I will link them all below. And I think that my winter season is going to be very just bookish, and that is what I'm looking forward to. Like when you live where I live, you gotta just like you gotta prepare. You gotta leave Easter eggs for yourself in the winter time so that you have something to look forward to instead of just snow and cold and darkness. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about my book. So this is different from the book that I talked about last time, which, if you remember, I was talking about my fairy tale Nutcracker retelling, The Clockmaster's Apprentice, and I know I'm holding up like a physical copy right now, but we don't have a physical copy available at the moment. I'm currently proofreading this so that I can make it available, and more on that later. I'll talk about kind of my process with that and how that's going and things of that nature. But if you guys want to be up to date on all this stuff, you can just follow me on Patreon. You can join as a free member. I'll explain how to do all that stuff at the very end. So let me talk about the book that I'm working on right now. So just a little bit about my business model. What I do is I serialize my books over Patreon and for my patrons, and then I will later release those chapters to free reading platforms until I'm done drafting the book. And then I let it sit for a while I get it edited, and if I need to do rewrites, polish. And when I'm ready to publish the book officially, I usually take it down from all the free reading platforms and I will create a paywall on my Patreon to read it as an ebook, or I will post it to, I will upload it to Amazon. And I usually have it as an ebook for some time before I release it in print. That's how my business model is. And so right now I have 4 books on Amazon, but the book that I am working on right now is a retro romantic thriller called Mall Ghosts. And I was going to show you, hold on. I had everything pulled up. Here we go. Okay, here's the cover. Okay, so this is the cover. This is Mall Ghosts. Mall Ghosts is a retro romantic thriller. It follows the story of Aqua Moore. She is an aspiring model who gets a summer job working at a small boutique in a rundown mall called Ocean Park Mall. And when Aqua was young, she used to go to this mall all the time. It was a very popular hangout. It was in its prime, but as now that she's older, yeah, it's run down, and there's rumors that the mall is haunted. And on the first day at her new job, she meets this guy named Sean Morey, and he works at the arcade, and they kind of have like an instant connection when they meet. But then later on, she reconnects with a childhood friend named Bobby Reyes, and he works in the food court. And I think you can see what's going on here. Sean is like the dark, mysterious, brooding guy, and then Bobby is like the sunshine, boy next door vibe. And yeah, everything's great except for the fact that the mall is haunted. And there's this major event in which the mall, on the night of Aqua's big fashion show, the mall shuts down, locks its own doors, and anybody who tries to leave the mall dies. So now Aqua has to figure out how to like survive basically um in this little haunted, like sentient building. And as she grows closer to Bobby and Sean, she learns more about the secrets of the mall. And I know it seems like I just gave a bunch away, but trust me, I did not. That's pretty much the setup for the book. There's a lot going on. Like, there's ghosts, there's other things going on, there's different characters, there's factions that form within the mall. It gets very Lord of the Fliesy at some point. If you've ever like watched shows like Stranger Things or ABC's Lost, or movies like Inception, Donnie Darko, even books like Jurassic Park, if you're familiar with the book The Gray House, all of these are major influences in mall ghosts. So that's mall ghosts. At the moment, I am up to 46,000 words, so roughly 27 chapters in, and I really don't see myself drafting this book until towards the end of spring, if I'm very serious, if I'm really diligent. So there's just kind of like a lot of time to catch up and join my journey as I worked towards publication of Mall Ghosts. It is free to read on my Patreon. And it's easier if you join, because then you get updates on every time I drop a chapter, as well as all the other things that I'm posting to Patreon. If you subscribe to my Patreon for $1 a month, I have 3 tiers, but for $1 a month, you get early access to Mall Ghost chapters specifically. And what early access means is that when I post the chapter, you get to read it first for up to a whole week before everybody else gets to see it, before it becomes free for my free members and available on the other platforms where I publish. And also, each chapter, you can read it in the app, like as a post, which is very easy reading. But also, each chapter comes with an ebook download, which is compatible with Apple Books. I believe it's compatible with Kindle, but I think it takes a little longer to upload to that. But if you have Apple Books, it's right there on there. I think it also works with like just other e-readers, that apps that you can find. You trust me, you can you can find something, an e-reader that will run the ebook, but you can also read it in the app. Let's see what else. Yeah, so if you subscribe, you get to support me. You get more perks as a subscriber, but also joining as a free member, you just get those updates of whenever like the chapter releases for the public, and you can it sends it straight to your email if you've ever like been subscribed to a Patreon before. Yeah, I will link the collection below, and I would love for people to join me, especially if you like thrillers, like a little bit of psych thrillers. There's slice of life romance in there. There's a little bit of paranormal, supernatural suspense going on. It's a really fun book, and I just need readers to enjoy the process with me, give me feedback, help my audience grow, and things of that nature. So, yeah. Okay, so that is everything that I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for joining me about stitchy things and all of my other creative pursuits. Just tell me what you think. What do you have going on in your kind of stitchy pile right now? What are you working on? And I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.